The Gameday Broadcast Network is your #1 destination to watch high school sports online with over 350 live sporting events produced each year. You can also relive all the biggest games on demand. Follow your favorite team with Gameday's exclusive articles, photo galleries, and television shows online at GamedayMagazine.com. Join the network today and make Gameday your home online. You'll never miss another big game.
The Gameday Broadcast Network's presentation of Football Media Day 2015 is proudly brought to you by Explosive Performance. Come visit the all-new Explosive Performance Training Center in Bramilton, Virginia, where you can train like the pros.
You know, the biggest thing is just getting them to understand how to compete, you know, day in, day out, whether it's in season, out of season, you know, in the classroom, in the weight room, on the field, wherever it is. But like I said, we kind of carry that 1-0 mantra, you know, kind of win the day out, you know, kind of thought process of each day we're trying to get better, you know. So they've been more buy-in to that, you know, and so kind of having a whole year, you know, in the weight room and just being around the guys, you can definitely see the difference, you know, physically and mentally.
To be pretty good, you got to play pretty good teams. And this year we got Tuscarora on our schedule. We got those guys, and we got travel out there, or maybe they're coming to us. But I think it's great. I think it's great for you guys. You're gonna get to come out and you're good to see us a little bit more. We'll be on game day. But you know, I think that it's great for that competition level. Again, they've been beating up on each other for a while, and I think it's really good for us. And it'll show the strength of our conference also. And again, those matchups have been talked about a lot. Again, on some of those YouTube podcasts, like what'll happen if this person plays this one? Well, who do you think? Well, those answers, they'll come. They're coming this fall, and so we'll see. So I think it'll be some great matchups.
Getting guys to buy into the little things, to show up on time, to pay attention to every detail involved in every rep, and whether it's in the weight room or on the practice field. And then all of a sudden, hopefully we'll be able to start to go from, you know, struggling to put points on the board and going 560 points given up to 60 points scored, losing games 60-0, to putting ourselves in position to be successful and competitive in the second half of games and in the fourth quarter. And so we're going to look to, you know, celebrate little successes, you know, first downs, you know, getting a day better at practice, and then getting better from week to week. You know, as we're able to expand on, you know, our playbook, how can we go from one series to the next? You know, are we getting to a point where we're evolving to where we want to be, so that we can find ourselves now not just competing in the second half and in the fourth quarter, but really having a chance to win those games. So changing the culture, I think, starts with spring workouts, summer workouts, and then doing the little things right. I mean, we're going to pay attention to all the little things that go on in playing football, whether it's coming out looking like a team, wearing the same things, toes on the line when we're warming up, taking the bus the appropriate way, and just doing the right thing all the time. And I think when you emphasize that, the X's and O's and all the big things then fall in place. It's the little things we're going to focus on, and we've been doing that since the spring. So,
great expectations starts with, we got to learn how to work and to make those expectations be fulfilled. But really, I just think you have the bar set so high in Loudoun County with those group of, you know, teams, and Briarwood. It just becomes the expectation. So it just rises everybody up. And if you're competitive, you want to be the guy, you want to be the school, you want to be the one everybody's talking about. And until we prove ourselves, we're not going to get talked about very much until you kind of go out there and say, okay, hey, look at us.
It's a process. If we start worrying about results right now, if we go into the first couple weeks of the practice and all we're thinking about is our record at the end, we're not going to achieve what we need to achieve. We need to be focused on day to day, and we need to win every drill, every team competition, inter-team competition, and then win every day that we do. It's just a process, and that's what we tell the kids all the time.
You know, even though I'm a traditional guy, I'm a big fan of the Alabama, Penn State helmet, stuff like that. Kids these days like the Oregon and the Marylands and stuff like that. So, you know, we try to do things that are fresh to them. We got new uniforms last year. We added an alternate jersey. We got a gray jersey. We got our new home uniforms this year. We got a new logo on the helmet, add a little bit of chrome, a little flair to it, things like that. So that's something the kids like. You know, and my coaching staff were young and energetic, so that feeds off to the kids. The kids feed off of it. They see our intensity, they see our passion for the game, and they start, you know, emulating that, so to speak.
We really have erased the individual mentality. you'll never win with that mentality. So I think a lot of our guys in the offseason, we have set up a leadership committee instead of captains. In our leadership committee, we have 4 seniors, we have 2 juniors, 2 sophomores. So we're kind of evening it out so everybody gets a say and we're not just relying on a few people. But the fact that we have 9 returners on defense and 7 on offense, I expect all of them to step up and fulfill their role and get better from last year.
Yeah, I'm going to give you the coaching answer, right? So every game's important, and we want to be 1-0 every week, but we do play in a conference that features a lot of really good teams. South County being one of them, Lake Braddock, up-and-coming Annandale team, W.T. Woodson. There's a lot of great teams there, but I think our first litmus test is going to be against Westfield week 3, our first home game, and obviously with our experience at Centerville with Westfield, that would be a great test of where we stand, and that's where what we're telling our kids. How good can TC be will be determined in those games. And also we have some games ahead of that, but that game right there playing against Westfield, who for the last 15 years has been probably the best team in the region, will be a great test for us.
The same thing I tell my kids, when you don't get what you want, what do you get? You get experience. And so every time you lose that last game, which most teams do, you look at it, you analyze it, you try to figure out what you did well, what you didn't do so well. We did take a little bit of a different approach this offseason. In our staff meetings before our first meeting, I asked my coaches to answer 3 questions. One was, why do you coach? The second one was, what do we do well? And the third one is, what do we need to do better? And at our staff meeting, we had some really honest, deep conversations about those 3 questions. And so our hopes is to first keep in mind why we coach, because when you lose that last game and you hear the criticisms, that sometimes can be tough. So you got to remember why we're doing it, and then what are we doing well, and let's remember we're doing some good things. Like I said to you, people are talking about you, so you must be doing something okay. And then what are those things we need to do better? And those are the things I'm hoping that maybe we can make some progress on this season. Like I said, having the conversations about it is the beginning. Now we've got to put some of it to work.
Well, I don't know if I can. I knew you were going to do this to me today, by the way. I don't know that I can put a number on it. I think that, that with the kids that we have and the teams that we play, we should be competing in every football game. Are there some teams on our schedule that could give us a hard time? Yeah, there are 10 of them. I think that if I were to pick a number before the season started, I don't know that would be fair to my guys. There's definitely going to have to be some growth to go on if we're going to make a seriously deep run that we've done in the past. I think we're going to surprise some people. That's, I think, my number one expectation. I think we've got better players that haven't had a chance to shine, and I think that it's their turn. And I think that's part of the great part of high school football is watching these kids grow up, and when they get their chance, that they make the most out of it. I think we're going to have a lot of kids that are biting, chomping at the bit. That's their turn, and so I'm excited to see those kids mature. I think if we mature the way that I hope we do, or that I think we could have another special season.
When you panel and you interview and you see or you kind of visualize within your meetings that a fit is there, I think I was a fit for them. The intriguing piece to me, which I've shared with other media hubs, is the fact of it being one of the most populated high schools in Virginia, which is just very intriguing to me, to be able to have an opportunity to coach a school as populated as Woodbridge, to try to encourage young men to get involved and stay involved through football.
That's a game that, personally, I'm probably most excited about. I don't know how much it means in the schedule because there's a lot of big games, and it's all going to be about getting in the playoffs. And 7-3 might be a great year, and we could lose, but I don't want to lose to him. Not the first time around. And I know he doesn't want to lose to me the first time around. And I think that's what, that's what'll add a little bit more to that game. Than most is just kind of his and I's relationship over the years and trying to build programs and young men and so that's one on the calendar for me. I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah, well, all the in-house schools they'll be a big game. That one will be a big game because I really don't want him to ever beat me. I'm just being honest. I mean, the good thing is we get along, and it'll be, you know, we'll talk up until we play, and we'll talk after we play, and it won't be anything lingering before and after. But I'm sure he's going to prepare as best he can. He's going to get after it, and to be perfectly honest, it would kill me to lose to him. But, you know, and it's not going to happen. But so I'm telling you, Mike, we're not going to lose to you.
Hold on a second. Somebody's texting me. Hold on. Sorry. Oh, no, it's Mike Burnett. Mike Burnett is texting me. Mickey, he said, hey, don't count on beating him, okay? I just want to tell you, that's what he just said.
All of our linemen really benefited, and we had a rule you're not allowed to throw up on the turf because it's just a pain to clean up. So the lineman groups, when we first started, were on the edge of the field so they could get off the field if they needed to. And again, that's kind of the mentality we want to have, is we're gonna go until we feel like we're gonna get sick. And it's real tough for the opponents to prepare for that.
You know, I think that our strength and conditioning program took on a little bit of a different aspect this year. We spent a lot of time on speed and conditioning. You know, the weight training obviously is a given. It's pretty standard, but the way that we went about the speed and conditioning training from a circuit standpoint, from shifting the routines from day to day and not letting it become mundane, I think put some excitement to it. We always end each of those periods with some level of competition, and I think the kids really embraced it and got after it.
The best way you define success is to achieve your potential. And I think our kids have an opportunity to achieve their potential. Wins and losses, you know, who knows, that's kind of up in the air. I think when you focus on wins and losses, you kind of miss the point of why you're a high school football coach. You know, we try to make kids better kids every day. We try to get kids to reach their potential. We try to get kids to focus on the things they need to focus on to be successful. Our mantra is one play at a time, just try to win that play. And if you take it that way, then the wins take care of themselves. I know that sounds trite, but it's not. I mean, it's true.
Overall, I'm pleased at the direction that we're headed. I think that we've had a really good offseason. In fact, one of the best off seasons we've had in 20 years at Oakton. Certainly in terms of strength, it might be the strongest collective team that we've had in 20 years. So, like I said, I think that we're moving in the right direction, and we're just going to get ourselves back in a position to be competitive and compete, and you know, see where we end up here at the end of the year.
Getting back into the 6A playoffs. I mean, that's a goal. It's, you know, you can win your conference, but you can also go 9-1 and lose in your conference, but then you still make the playoffs. Getting to that 6A playoffs for us, playing good football consistently, make sure the character of the kids is done right, and then at the same time, if we can get to the 6A playoffs, win the conference, those are goals that we have. That's where we want to be when the end of the year finishes up.
We traditionally have linemen that step up and are ready to go, and I think we have that again this year with our offensive and defensive lines. So we're excited. I don't think our schedule has done us any favors. We're going to have our hands full with everybody on there, but we're ready to go.
I know that the more Andy Hayes calls me, the more I know we've been successful. So and every time he calls, we're doing halfway decent.
I think the kids are getting kind of what is expected of them from our perspective, and I think as we're seeing that and they're making that commitment, then the leadership is increasing because they have a better stake in what's going on, and they've put the time in, and they don't want to see guys come out and dog it at practice or dog it at conditioning, because not everybody has put in the same amount of time, but the guys who have put in that extra time, they know what it takes to win, and they're willing to make that sacrifice, and they're going to hold their teammates accountable to make sure those guys are doing the same thing as well.
You know, we got to continue to just improve as tacklers. We got to be a little bit more sure in the back end fits against the run game in particular, and kind of improve our play maybe at the safety position. But all the way across the board. But the biggest thing that we're addressing is strength and tackling.
We take one game at a time, one play at a time, you know, and the only thing that matters to us right now is that first game. And, you know, we got a huge test right out the gate with Hilton. And so, you know, we're excited about what we're bringing to the table, and, you know, we just got to get it out there and put it into action.
Line up correctly, give the perfect effort, and get to the ball. That's what we do on defense. And when people identify their defense, the greatest compliment you can say is, man, that defense gets after it. I mean, that's what you want people to say. Offensively, the identity that we have is we compete. We compete for every ball in the air, compete in every block, whether it's a run block or a pass block, compete. And I think the third phase that I think people forget about that really makes a difference in champ is the reason why we were 8-4 last year is special teams. We blocked 5 kicks, we blocked 2 punts, and those are game changers. And when you're not as good as you want to be, you have to turn the corner to go from good to great or from not so good to good. You have to take every advantage you can, and we spend a lot more time on special teams because we try to create momentum. We have to create points. And those 3 phases, I think when you look at us, the identity that I want to create is, man, those kids play hard. God, they compete. Man, they get after it. And, you know, that's what I hope people say and think when they see us.
The train was already rolling. We had a lot of seniors that were really already there, and things were pretty much in place to really have a successful season already. So that was fortunate for us. But this year, it's a clean slate, you know, for the kids and the staff. But it's been really good for us to kind of get to know the kids. The new coaches coming in got to know the kids in the weight room. So it's not going to be any new coaches coming in the kids don't know. All of our philosophies going forward have really been started to be instilled from the very beginning. And kids are not going to be surprised by anything we're doing because we've been doing it all along this off season.
Well, I think part of that is kids realizing expectations. I think once they know your expectations, they can start to come together as a program because you've got to set the bar at a certain level and you want them to achieve that. As far as being in the community, we've had nothing but stellar support within our community. We've had people that just are excited about Rockridge or excited about Rockridge football and athletics in general. And I think that's made kids see that this is an opportunity for them. And I think when you show kids opportunity, they get excited. When they get excited, they play hard and work hard. When you get that combination, then you can be successful as a program.
I came in, I was the new guy, and Falkier had a new guy at the time, and you know, Jeff was, you know, the old hat. 3 years go by, now we got all brand new coaches. I'm not really sure how I feel about it. You know, we were able to have success the last 3 years, and now we're switching up everything, brand new schemes, got to get associated with things, brand new rivalries. So I think it brings a freshness to it that I like, you know, kind of a let's start over and, you know, let's get new things to get mad about with in-town rivalries. So it's an interesting thing to add to the season, definitely.
We saw a great effort in the weight room over the off season, and I think a lot of the kids have completely bought into what we're trying to accomplish. So, you know, maybe we are turning a corner. You know, I'd like to be those TC teams in the mid-1980s. Whenever you traveled to TC, you know you were 7 or 14 points down. You just knew it. And I want people to, you know, take that long drive to Hayfield. I want them to you know, sit in traffic for about 2 hours and think about, you know, what we're going to try and do to them. And you know, we're not there yet, but you know, it's getting closer.
The main core value we live by is something that my dad taught me when I was younger. And it's one of our mission statements of our football team. It's called good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good becomes better and your better becomes best. So we're going to have small successes, but we don't want to be complacent and content with where we're at. You know, I remember when I grew up and played football under Francis Dahl at Lake Braddock, he always told you, act like you've been there before. Score a touchdown, hand the ball off to the referee, and let's get back at it because the game is not over. So it's those things where get these young men into that mentality of not just being content with just one touchdown, but being successful not only on the field, but in the classroom and in the community, and be a better holistic player in the program. So that's what we're trying to bring.
The Gameday Broadcast Network is your #1 destination to watch high school sports online with over 350 live sporting events produced each year. You can also relive all the biggest games on demand. Follow your favorite team with Gameday's exclusive articles, photo galleries, and television shows online at GamedayMagazine.com. Join the network today and make Gameday your home online. You'll never miss another big game.